Assalamu alaikum, young explorers. Are you ready for an extraordinary journey with Heavenly Children's series, The Free Child? In this book, Hazrat Imam Muhammad Baqir faces challenges with courage and bravery, even in the court of Yazid after the incidents of Karbala. So let's start today's story. The serene bubbling of a water fountain echoed against the palace courtyard walls. The sun glistened against the water, causing it to sparkle. Suddenly, the heavy sound of soldier boots and camel hooves marching along the palace road cut through the peace. One palace soldier gruffly approached the advancing caravan. He squinted at the arrivals with a harsh look. There was no kindness in his face. His stiff appearance was so brutal that even the camel started to cry as he roughly pulled its body down to the ground. The soldier pulled out his whip and lashed the ground near the camel, causing the distressed animal to screech. The other caravan camels knelt down on the hot ground, compelled out of fear of the whip. The soldier surveyed the worn-out women and children on the backs of the camels. They looked in need of sleep, food, water, and kindness. Sadly, they would not be receiving any of these from this hard-hearted man. "Get off!" he barked rudely. More soldiers came forward to snatch the tired prisoners off the camels, dragging them towards the palace doors. Using a coarse rope, the soldiers tied the hands, feet, and necks of every captive. Who were these captives? What had they done to deserve such awful treatment? After tying up all the women and children, they reached the only man in the caravan. The angry palace soldier tried with all his might to push the man off the camel, but the man stayed steady. The man had large wounds on his body, and his hands were tied. In spite of this, he was able to get off the camel on his own. This strong, dignified man was none other than the fourth Imam, Imam Sajjad al-Islam, and the women and children were Imam Hussein's loved ones from Karbala. "Make sure they all get inside," commanded the gruff soldier to the others. "Don't let any of these worthless people out of your sight." The soldiers began whipping the women and children, trying to get them into a straight line. The children cried and shrieked, clinging as closely to their mothers as possible. Like a herd of sheep, they were driven into the palace. They entered an expensive grand room decorated with green velvet curtains and plush couches. A boorish-looking man sat on top of a large jewel-covered throne, gleefully waiting for the prisoners to enter. This terrible man was the evil caliph, Yazid. He sat smugly on his throne, drinking wine and eating expensive dishes with his advisors. Finally, he would be coming face to face with people who had defied his rule. They would see who was the winner. He felt on top of the world. Nothing could be more satisfying to him than this. As the noble family of the Prophet, peace be upon him, was pushed into the throne room, Yazid let out a loud, raucous laugh, his shoulders shuddering with each breath. Suddenly, he stopped laughing. He rose from his throne, an uncomfortable frown wrinkling his face. He pointed straight at Imam as-Sajjad alayhi salam. "Who is this?" he demanded. "I thought you said all the men were killed in the battle at Karbala." One of his advisors shuffled forward and whispered into his ear, "My master, this man is Ali alayhi salam. He is the son of Hussein alayhi salam. It seems he was too sick to fight on the day of the battle, so they did not kill him, and Ibn Ziyad took him as a prisoner instead." This exclamation seemed to appease the uncouth ruler. Yazid snickered loudly. He drew out his chin proudly. "So, Ali, son of Hussein, what did you see in Karbala?" The Imam alayhi salam looked directly at Yazid with a level gaze and calmly responded, "I saw what Allah knew would take place even before He created the heavens and the earth." Yazid's smile quickly faded. This was not the weak, pitiful complaint he expected. He angrily flopped back into his seat. The Imam's answer was so peaceful and dignified. It was clear that he truly loved and trusted Allah. How could he show his power over this man? He turned to a group of his advisors for ideas. They quietly discussed this problem for a short while. Before they could recommend an idea, Yazid impatiently yelled, "Kill him!" He could not tolerate how this man tied up and captive could make him feel so small. One of Yazid's soldiers rushed forward and drew his sword, ready to execute Yazid's order. He grabbed the Imam alayhi salam by his arm and pulled him towards the door. Seeing this threat to their dear precious Imam alayhi salam, the women and children began weeping uncontrollably. But one prisoner, a little 5-year-old boy, took action. Without any hesitation, he marched right up to Yazid. This brave young boy was Imam Muhammad al-Baqir alayhi salam, the son of Imam as-Sajjad alayhi salam. He stood before Yazid, his eyes fierce with indignant anger. Yazid was furious. How dare a child give him such a look? He shouted, "Who are you and what do you want? Should I kill you too?" The young Imam al-Baqir was not shaken by Yazid's insolence or his threats. He firmly replied, "O Yazid, your advisors gave you the opposite advice of the Pharaoh's advisors when the Pharaoh asked them for advice on what to do with the Prophet Musa and his brother, Prophet Harun alayhi salam. They said, 'Do not kill them.' However, your advisors told you to kill my father. There is a reason for that." Hearing this, Yazid stopped laughing. The young Imam's words puzzled him. Irritated, he asked, "What is the reason?" Imam al-Baqir alayhi salam responded, "You and your advisors are the worst and lowest of humans. Because of all the sins you have committed, no one in their right mind orders for a prophet or his family to be killed." The room suddenly fell silent in shock. All the soldiers, advisors, and court attendants held their breath as they waited to see Yazid's reaction. Yazid looked around anxiously. He could see the effect that the little Imam alayhi salam had on the audience. Everyone was in awe of the resolute young Imam alayhi salam. Yazid's arrogance faded into embarrassment. The 5-year-old had spoken so wisely and fearlessly. It was as if Yazid's soldiers, wealth, and power had no effect on him. If Yazid did have Imam as-Sajjad alayhi salam killed, everyone would think him insane. As the little Imam had mentioned, no one in their right mind killed a prophet or his family, and Yazid had already had Imam Hussein alayhi salam killed in Karbala. Uneasily, Yazid lifted up his ring-filled hand and signaled towards his soldiers to release Imam as-Sajjad alayhi salam. Yazid's anger switched from the family of the Prophet, peace be upon him, to his advisors. "I should kill you all instead, you lowly beings," he bellowed. Their faces turned green with panic. If they hadn't given him so much poor advice, the young Imam alayhi salam couldn't have made him look like a fool. He didn't know what to do. Instead of being able to gloat over the captives, he felt so defeated. Childishly, he slammed his fists into the throne's armrests. "Everyone out! Out!" he screamed. Everyone scrambled to exit the palace hall. All the while, the words of the young Imam al-Baqir alayhi salam continued to haunt Yazid. As our journey with the free child comes to an end, we can't help but feel a twinge of sadness for the challenges faced by Hazrat Imam Muhammad Baqir alayhi salam. Yet, let this heart-touching tale remind us of the strength that can emerge from adversity. Until our next story, young friends, may compassion and resilience light your paths. Good night, friends.